Miami.
Yeah. How's the weather your way?
It's 46 degrees, but it's all right. I just came from the gym. Feel good.
I
Doing
see the
the
sun
start
shining
the
down on half of your face.
That is true. That is true.
Listen, I believe is in the high 80s down here in Miami, South Florida, and
Okay.
yeah, and right now half of my body is burning up right now. So I'm trying to play it cool, but
Well, it's in the high 40s,
okay,
and
well, hmm
yeah, it's a little chilly here, but it's much warmer than it has been over the last couple of weeks.
hmm
I think the last time we was on, I had a coat and hat on at a park.
yeah, you looked
Well,
ridiculous. You were so cold. You looked ridiculous. You look like an
it
Eskimo.
was cold.
I'm sitting here. I look like the warmest person ever. You look like an Eskimo. So
Man,
it's
I
just
was, I
funny.
was a little jealous. I admit I was a little jealous. I was like, man, I'm outside and he in the house or outside where he's at. Let me go back in the car.
Yes, absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. So talk about burning. I got a burning question for you.
Hmm.
What would happen if all black and brown people was to have a mass exodus like this administration seemed to want? What do you think will be the repercussions of that?
Or the United States will fall, because if I'm not mistaken, we are the number two economic power of the world. So if you think about it, I mean, look at the malls. If it wasn't for black people, look at Target, Walmart, the malls. If it wasn't for black people spending the way black people do, unfortunately, that's what we do. But I believe black money in the United States represent approximately trillions of dollars here in the United States. And not only that, think about taxes. So between consuming and taxes alone, the United States would probably be a third world country, because then what will happen is they wouldn't have enough people here to do manufacturing. So they wouldn't have enough people here to, I mean, if you try to hire, there's no one to there's no one to hire, because there's not enough people in the country to do anything with.
That's the point that I want to make, right? So if you look at it, who would you get? So you can have all these brilliant ideas. You can be
Hmm.
able to have all this infrastructure, but if you don't have the labor that's in place, then who's actually going to be able to get the job done? And I know a lot of people are like, hey, well, black people only represent a small fraction of the demographics that's actually within the country. But if you look at the labor force, the hard labor force, the middle management, and the entry level jobs, that is mostly unfortunately designated for the for people that look like you and I. So when you talk about what would happen, you would literally have a situation where people who are not accustomed to actually working certain jobs and working certain positions will have to work those jobs and work those certain positions, and they may not give the same effort as the people who's currently doing them.
Well, let's talk about what's happening right now. How this administration is deporting, and the people that they're deporting, most of them work on farms now. Now, I don't know about you, but I have no intentions, unless it's in my own personal backyard. But I have no intentions on working on any farm.
Listen, I can tell you for a fact, as a person who has a fairly large garden in my house, man, working in the garden is not easy work at all. Working on the farm is definitely not easy work. And I don't deal with any chickens, cows, horses. I don't deal with any of those things. I'm literally with a shovel, a pick, picking things up. But I digress, man, to your point. Go ahead, Owen.
So, so now what's going to happen? What's going to happen with agriculture? Food prices are going to go up because the farmers is going to go out of business. So now we're going to have to import fruits and vegetables, possibly start importing our meats, because there's going to be no one to take care of this. I'm pretty sure the administration want people that look like you and I
I got my hand
to
raised on this. I got my hand
go
raised on this. I got my
go.
hand raised because I got to be able to do it. Did you see where prisoners are starting to man the farming systems and the labor jobs that was actually designated for Mexicans and other immigrants that has been exported out of the country? Have you seen that? That
I
is
did not know.
literally a reversal of everything that has happened over the last, what, 60 years. That is, they are literally using indentured servitude through prisoners to be able to go back and put people back into the farms, back into construction to build the infrastructure of what's actually happening in the country. And so when you talk about who would do those jobs, the people who got locked up for petty crimes.
Petty crimes.
And some of them are hard crimes. I get it. I get it. Some people in there, there's mass murderers, and they took people's lives and raped people and did things such as that. Um, However, when what's going on, Alice? How you doing, brother? Listen, that's a good brother right there. I'm glad you tuned in, man. When you look at the way the system is, if we literally was to be able to pick up and everyone was to do a mass exodus, that people look like me, I don't think they would have any problem with opening the jails and actually make forcing the people that is piled up in the jails to actually go and work the farms, to create the products, to work the lands, and to be able to do the things to do the things that a lot of people aren't willing to do, or people are willing to do under the table and get paid pennies.
Look at it this way. First of all, the people in jail can only do so much because now you're talking about there's not going to be enough people to watch them. You know why? Because look at the police force.
Hmm.
The police force have how many black and brown people?
Not a lot.
FBI, but enough.
Okay.
Enough. Okay, depends on where you are.
Okay.
Depends on where you are. Okay.
I get that.
Um, so remember, we're taking all the black and brown people away. There are not enough law enforcement to watch everyone in jail.
Hmm.
Am I making sense?
I
So
do.
now, but what happens though when you start doing that? You're creating the system that they always wanted anyways, and that's slavery again. Not only are you creating slavery, but you're creating free labor.
Hmm.
So now you do what I tell you to do if you wanna eat. You do what I tell you to do. Or you have 2 more years where you work these farms for free, and then you can then towards your because when people is about to get out of jail, they can go out in the community and start working and everything.
That's
And
right.
as long as they do what they're supposed to do, now they put them right on the farm.
That's right.
So you know,
I, what I think is quite interesting, and I want to be able to transition over to this factor right here. The things that has been created by black and brown people are countless, right? The things,
correct.
the ideas, the inventions, the systems that's in place that has been created. If you was to be able to retroactively take those things away and say, hey, this is what we got to be able to live off of, without those inventions in place, it would be a whole different world, right? But even with that said, even with the world, the country, the way that it is now, if you was to be able to have a mass exodus and say, everybody go to Brazil or Mexico or Africa or those different places, and you was to say, hey, this is how we're going to do things. We want to be able to just continue to exist without people that has contributed so much to the economy, that has contributed so much to this great country. I think that they'll be in big trouble. I think that you will literally have a halt of everything that's progressing along just fine right now. I don't think that we're overstating the importance of who we are as black people and what we contribute to it. But I think that it'll be more detrimental than a lot of people let on.
Imagine this: no black and brown people in the United States, and the United States only deal with they only use their own resources.
Hmm.
What kind of country would this country be? See,
Hmm.
they think this is what they want, make America great again. We know what that really means, behind the scenes.
Hmm.
Okay? I wish I could see the day when all black and brown people say, I'm done and move out of this country in droves. Just move out. I would
Oh, you
love
got
to
to be careful, man. Hey, maybe the people listening to tell you, man, go ahead on. I don't know.
hmm But just move out in droves. Move out in droves. But first we as a black community, we got to get our stuff together. We got to learn how to work together first,
How do we
come
do that?
together, be
How do
together.
we do that? I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about what we got going on and what's wrong about us. How do we do that?
It starts with one. We can get one to get a group of people and teach each other how to come together and work together, put our resources together. We have enough money in our community to make some things happen, but we don't work together. We
Yeah,
have
but
billions.
and I'm cutting you off because I'm very exhausted about that rhetoric right there. I get it. We don't work together. We don't trust each other. All of those things. What do we do to be able to actually change the narrative and change the things that we have going on? And Alice, I hear you say I agree with that, right? Is it
We have to be taught. We need to be taught.
taught what?
Those that group economics. Are you familiar with group economics?
Yes.
We need to be taught group economics. I don't care if we have to pull five of us together, okay, and somebody takes the lead. We have to show one another. Not all of us have to be a, a what do you call it, an Indian and everything. You can be the Indian in your craft, but the whole big picture of things, everybody is just a Indian.
No, you're saying the chief. Yeah, you could be
I'm
a
not
chief in
I'm
your own
sorry, chief.
craft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, chief. You could be a chief in your own craft, which makes sense. But
Hmm.
the whole picture of it, the whole business of it, everyone is just an Indian. This is how you succeed. But I'm gonna speak about my community because I know my community better than I know other communities. In my community, we all want to be chiefs. No one wants to sit back and be the Indian and do the work. We want to, or if you want to, a better way of saying it is, we want to not only be in our lane, but we want to be in that lane over there. We want to be in that lane over there, and we want to be in that lane back there. Stay in your lane.
Hell, I'm okay
Stay.
with staying in my own lane right now. I'm okay with being a chief. I mean, or Indian in my own business right now. Like, I'm okay with those type of things. Like, I don't think. I think that we. I think that what happens is that we highlight the problem way more than we come up with a solution. Right.
Mhm.
I literally think if we say this, right? Okay, David, you do this within the business. And let's use one of our followers, right? Alice, you do this within the business. And we literally take that seriously without any excuses, without any reason why we didn't get it done, without any ego. And I think that we can literally be able to create the systems that we need to be able to make it happen. So,
Let me say it this way. What season is this right now? What time of year?
uh, wintertime. Well, we just in the
No, no, no.
springtime.
What season? What season? Not not
Spring.
not your four seasons, but the time of this time of year. What do people get this time of year?
Oh, income tax
Taxes.
time.
Income tax time. We're in tax season, right?
Yes.
I've tried to get four people together and I made five. Listen, we get our income taxes. Let's put a little money together. And I had it, and I didn't do it recently, but I've done it in the past. Let's put a little money together and see if we can buy some real estate. Because eventually this real estate is going up. And you know what I hear? Well, who's gonna oversee the money? Who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do that? Why is it about overseeing the money? All our money goes in, we all oversee it.
Okay.
Nobody wants to do anything but that. But one of them people, this is what they did. I caught that person in the mall with two hands of bags. The wife had a bag. I think they're married now. The wife had a bag and the baby had a bag. But they could have taken that same dollar and invested it into into the into the real estate market.
Yes. I agree.
But they're still renting today. See other communities, and we know who we're talking about. They all get together, live together, and everybody helps everyone to purchase a home.
David, can I interrupt you right quick? Do you mind?
Mhm.
So one of our viewers right now, Ashley, she said we aren't the ones who should leave. They are doing the same thing over in Africa. They're on land in Africa that blacks are not allowed on. Let's start there. So I really want to be able to interject on this because I think I come from a very unique perspective. Okay, and the perspective, Ashley, are you still here? Just give me a thumbs up if you're still here because I want to be able to address what you're saying. So the the I am a guy. Okay. Um the question was what would happen if black and brown people were to be able to leave America. I didn't say that we should leave America, or the conversation is about we should leave America, but what would happen if we was to leave America? What would be the condition that America is in, right? So the first thing I want to be able to say is yes, I have spent a lot of time in Africa. Okay, lived there, uh, rubbed elbows, been around, and I could be able to say that yes, all over the world, whether it was in Turkey, whether it was in Africa, whether it was in excuse me, lower Africa, South Africa, whether it's in America, whether it's in Brazil, black people seem to have the lower economic power out of everyone, right? But what we're saying is that idealistically, we have more ideas and contribute more to any society. And we're posing a question to ask what would happen if our contributions are no longer there? What would a great country, even as great as America, what would happen with that country if our contributions are no longer there? And what I mean by contributions is our economic money, right? Our money that we work for, that we put into the economy, the labor that we put forth, all of those things. So that's really what the conversation is about if I was to rephrase it. But David, I cut you off and I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. So I lost my thought.
No, that's okay. You were talking about the people in the mall, and you was
Oh yeah, the people in the
mentioning
mall. So this very person is walking out of the mall with bags, wiping out bags, the son bags, and they're renting. All I asked was take some money. Let's put all five of us put it together. They start acquiring real estate one. Here you go, brick by brick, one brick at a time, one property at a time. We don't want to do that. Why? Because it's been ingrained in us over 150 years. Don't trust him. Don't trust them. Come on the other side of the street and trust us.
so
It's been ingrained in us.
so your solution is start with our own land.
Start with our own land.
So okay, so let's get into the scenario, right? So okay, 10 of us got together.
Mm-hmm.
We all put in $10,000 each. Bought a piece of
hundred
land for
dollars.
$100,000. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so now we own the land in, let's say, Nebraska, right? So what happens then? You own the land. What happens then?
We build our own business. Look what happened in Oklahoma.
What do you start
They were
with first?
striving.
What
They were
businesses do
striving.
you start with first? Tell me.
Banking,
Banking.
banking.
All right. What next?
Then from banking, then you start building. You need housing. You
Okay.
start with then you go with housing. You also go with agriculture.
Okay.
Money, housing, agriculture,
Education.
education as well, because you got to educate. We are some of the best builders.
Okay.
We are some of the best innovators.
So can I do a roll call and give a thumbs up in chat if you guys are really interested in having a group economics of actually buying land and creating a sustainable community that's governed by us, policed by us, educated by us, supported by us, and entertained by us. Who's down to be able to create something like that? Because right now, I promise y'all that I would no longer come on here and talk about what black people don't do anymore because I think that's old and I think that we can be able to sing that into to God come back, man. In the rapture happen, right? We can be able to sing that same old tune. Can we come together right now, y'all? Whoever on this call, whoever could be able to come back and listen at a later time, can we say, hey, I trust my brother, I trust my sister enough to be able to start a fund, even if we used to use the blockchain and we all put money on the blockchain and we create land to start the first process of this, because that was David saying right there that that's the first step. You don't deter away from that first step, right?
Absolutely not.
And if that's the case, what would happen? What would Black America, or what would that community look like in 50 years or 20 years from now?
Could you imagine could you imagine if we just had, if Black America just owned 3 states in America? We bought from each other. We sold to one another. Where we will be economically, we will be forced to do and understand and create businesses. We will be forced to. We will understand it. The
So that
innovation
is
that will come out, the
so that
innovation
is
that will
Black
come out of
economics
our
that you're
economy.
talking about, right? We're talking about Black
Absolutely.
economics.
Absolutely. The innovation. I mean, look, you have some of the best doctors from Africa coming over here to America.
That's right.
I know one personally that works in the cancer research hospital that we have here personally. I don't
Okay.
want to mention his name, okay? But he's African. We have we as a people, we are so innovative that other groups take our inventions and claim them for themselves.
Well, I can say this. I can say this to you, brother. I believe if you need a banking system, that's what you say you started. I can
Hmm.
be able to head the banking system along with other people that we recently spoke with. Okay. Um, I know that my wife could be in the educational system. I know that you have a lot of special set of skills that you could be able to help with. I really want to be able to know who that is following us, who that is hearing our voice. What skills do you possess that you can actually be able to help us create this community and not just have open rhetoric or something that we're not even going to actually make happen, but how we can actually do this in real life. What's your thoughts on that, David? Your closing thoughts.
My closing thoughts: we need to stop thinking about it and just do it. That's the problem. We think too much. Just do it because we're not going to get anything done unless we just do it. And
Just do it.
That's Nike's favorite Nike's quote. Just
Just
do
do
it.
it.
Just
Just
go
do
out
it.
there and do it. You know,
Okay.
get with a couple people, get with a couple friends, and say, listen, let's do something together.
Okay.
Let's take our tax money and do something together. Create some economics within your neighborhood, within your household, within amongst 5 of your household.
Okay.
Because the people that have the real money in the neighborhood, they can help out. But I understand that's their money. They made it, they created. But now we all need to find a way of coming together, and that is if one person take a couple others, say, listen, this is the this is the setup. This is the roadmap on what we need to do. Let's work together. I'm not asking you to put 10,000. Oh, you need a lot of money. No, you don't. You don't need $10,000, $20,000. No, go and start with the average person get way more than $500 in their taxes. Start with $500. $500. That's $2,500. Put that in the bank. Even if you have to put it in the market or something like that. Put in the what do you call it? Put in the a CD or put it in a market. What's the other one called? A market.
Money market. Money market
Money
fund.
market. Yeah, that's the market. Put
Yes.
in a money market and grow that money.
Okay. And so my closing
Watch.
remark.
And then every month, put $25 in. I'm not even asking for $50. Put $25 in.
Yes.
Everybody who has a job can afford $25. You know
Okay.
why?
All right.
Because that's because in 2 weeks, if you're doing $25 in a month, every 2 weeks that's $12.50. Every week that's just $6.25. I guarantee you waste $6.25 a week. Waste it. If I ask you right now, what did you do with the last $6.25? I guarantee you 99.9%, please round it off to 100. You'd be like, oh, I don't know. Because I don't know what I did with my last $6.25. And I'm frivolous with my money.
Absolutely. So I would say this to you. This is my closing remarks, and thank you for that. This is not an anti-America speech because I know people get really stupid and they make up their own narratives, right? And we're not talking to the stupid people, right? And I know that might not be a nice word, but I had to let it know. This is if the systems in place or the administration doesn't allow us to grow and prosper and climb up corporate ladders to have the economic power that we desire, how do we create it and build it ourselves?
I'm going to say this last thought to Black and Brown America. Their system is not for us. Their table is not for us. So create your own table.
Build your own
I'm
table.
not saying leave America, because I don't want to leave America either. But the topic of this is, what would it look like? We're not leaving, but what would it look like if it happened? I don't plan on leaving, and I know my family don't plan on leaving. But what would it look like? Don't get it mixed up. But what I am saying is, right now, who's listening, you need to start creating your own table. Stop sitting and depending on someone else's table, and create your own.
And this is another episode of Brick by Brick with Terrell Clayton and David Reed. Thank y'all very much. Don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Talk to y'all another time. Later.
Bye for now.